You eat right. You take your calcium. You've even started walking more. But your doctor still says your bone density is dropping. Your knees ache. Your back feels fragile. And you're starting to worry about falls. You wonder, what more can I do? But what if the real problem isn't what you're missing? What if it's what you're eating? Because here's the truth most people don't hear. There are certain foods, even ones that seem healthy, that quietly drain the strength from your bones. Foods that interfere with calcium. Foods that block absorption. And foods that, when eaten too often, make your bones more brittle over time. And many seniors eat these every single day, without knowing what they're doing to their body. In this video, we'll go over 7 foods that might be working against your bone strength, even if they're in your healthy routine. We'll explain why they're harmful, what to eat instead, and how small shifts in your meals can build stronger bones with every bite. Because strong bones aren't just about calcium. They're about knowing what keeps the calcium in your body and what silently pushes it out. If you've been doing everything right, but still feel weak in your hips, your back, or your legs, this might be the missing piece. Welcome to Healthy After 60, where we move better, feel better, and live stronger every day. If you care about protecting your bones and your future, like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. We post new videos every day, designed specifically for your health after 60. Now, let's begin with a food that many seniors eat for gut health or breakfast, but which may be quietly weakening the bones it was meant to support. Let's begin with a food that many seniors reach for thinking it's a healthy choice. Fruit-flavored yogurt. It's easy. It's convenient. It says low-fat or high in calcium right on the label. Some even say fortified for bone health. But here's what the labels don't say. Most fruit-flavored yogurts are packed with added sugars, artificial flavors, and acidic preservatives. That sweet taste often comes from syrups or fruit concentrates, not real fruit. And some small containers can contain more sugar than a glazed donut. Now let's break this down. Sugar, especially when eaten in high amounts, leads to a process in the body called metabolic acidosis, a condition where the body becomes more acidic. To neutralize this acidity, your body pulls alkaline minerals from its reserves. And one of the main reserves? Your bones. Yes, calcium is stored in your bones, and your body will leach it out to protect other systems. That means the very food you think is helping your bones might actually be weakening them. And the acidity doesn't stop there. Fruit-flavored yogurts often contain citric acid and other additives to give them a longer shelf life and more tang. This adds even more acidity and more pressure on your bones to buffer it. Now, let's bring this closer to home. Linda, 67, from Calgary, Alberta, had been eating a cup of fruit-flavored yogurt every night before bed. She thought it was a healthy dessert, low in calories, good for her digestion. But after a DEXA scan showed early signs of bone loss, her doctor asked her to bring in a food log. When he saw the yogurt, he shook his head. He told her, "You'd be better off with plain Greek yogurt and real berries. That flavored stuff is basically pudding in disguise." Linda made the switch. 2 months later, she noticed her energy felt more stable. Her joints weren't as sore, and she was finally absorbing more calcium from her supplements. So what's the smarter choice? Swap fruit-flavored yogurt for plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt. Then add your own fresh fruit, like blueberries, strawberries, or sliced banana. That way, you control the sugar. You avoid the acidic additives. And you keep the protein high, which is essential for bone repair. If you want even more support for your bones, sprinkle in chia seeds or ground flaxseed, both rich in magnesium and omega-3s, which work hand in hand with calcium to strengthen bone tissue. Also, check the label. If sugar or high fructose corn syrup is one of the first 3 ingredients, it's not doing your bones any favors. Now let me ask you, do you eat fruit-flavored yogurt regularly? If so, type the number 1 in the comments. And while you're there, let us know your age and what country you're watching from. We're building a community of seniors who are learning and growing stronger together. Up next, we'll look at a food that seems incredibly healthy because it's green, but in certain forms, it might be blocking the very nutrients your bones need to stay strong. Let's talk about spinach. Now, Let's talk about a food that's on almost every healthy eating list. It's green. It's packed with iron. It's praised by doctors, dietitians, and just about every health magazine out there. Spinach. And while spinach does offer some nutritional benefits, there's something most people, especially seniors, never hear about. It can quietly block your body from absorbing calcium. Here's how. Spinach is high in oxalates, natural compounds found in many plant foods. Oxalates bind with minerals like calcium inside your digestive tract. And when they bind together, your body can no longer absorb that calcium. Instead of entering your bloodstream to strengthen your bones, the calcium gets trapped, and it passes out of your body and used. That means if you're taking a calcium supplement with your spinach salad, or drinking a glass of milk with your sautéed greens, you may be losing that calcium without even realizing it. Now, this doesn't mean spinach is bad, but it does mean that too much raw spinach, especially in your main meals, could interfere with your bone health over time. Let me share a real example. Mark, 72, from Manchester, UK, was told by his doctor that his bone skin showed early signs of osteoporosis. He was shocked. He walked every day. He lifted light weights. And he ate healthy, including a big spinach smoothie every morning. But when a nutritionist reviewed his diet, she gently pointed out that his daily spinach habit might be blocking the very calcium he was trying to absorb from his breakfast. She recommended a few changes. Reduce raw spinach to just a few times a week. Lightly cook his greens when possible. Rotate in lower oxalate options like kale and bok choy. And never pair calcium-rich foods or supplements with high oxalate meals. 6 months later, Mark repeated his scan. His bone density had stabilized. He didn't cut spinach out completely. He just became smarter about how and when he ate it. So what should you do? If spinach is part of your regular diet, don't panic. But do limit raw spinach to no more than a few servings per week. Instead, focus on cooked greens like kale, collard greens, mustard greens, and bok choy, all of which are low in oxalates and high in calcium and vitamin K, 2 essential bone nutrients. Cooking spinach also reduces its oxalate content by up to 40%, making it easier for your body to absorb the minerals you need. Another simple tip: never pair high oxalate greens with your calcium supplement. If you take calcium, take it with a low oxalate meal instead, like grilled chicken, steamed vegetables, and quinoa. Now I want to hear from you. Do you eat raw spinach often, in salads, smoothies, or sandwiches? If so, type the number 1 in the comments. And don't forget to include your age and your country. Our community is made up of seniors from the US, the UK, Canada, and beyond, all learning together. Before we continue, if this information is opening your eyes to how nutrition impacts your bones after 60, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next daily tip. And if you know someone who's trying to eat healthy but struggling with weakness or fractures, share this with them. You can help them avoid a serious injury just by passing this on. Up next, we'll look at a food that shows up in many breakfast bowls, but contains a compound that locks away calcium before your body ever gets a chance to use it. Let's talk about wheat bran cereal. Now, let's move on to a food that many seniors trust as part of a heart-healthy, fiber-rich breakfast. Wheat bran cereal. It's high in fiber. It helps keep you regular. It's often recommended for digestive health, especially as we age. So how can something that's good for your gut be bad for your bones? The answer lies in a compound called phytic acid, or phytates. Wheat bran, especially in raw or unprocessed form, contains high levels of this compound. Phytates are what plants use to store minerals. But in the human digestive system, they do something very different. They bind to essential minerals, including calcium, magnesium, zinc, and iron, and stop your body from absorbing them. Think of it this way. You pour calcium-rich milk over your wheat bran cereal in the morning, but instead of that calcium getting absorbed into your bloodstream to support your bones, it gets locked up by the phytates in the cereal. It passes through your system, unused and wasted. Now imagine doing that every day for years. You think you're doing something healthy, but you're unknowingly blocking the minerals your bones need to stay strong. Let me share a true story. Eleanor, 74, from Jacksonville, Florida, was shocked when her doctor told her she had thinning bones, despite taking supplements and eating a high-calcium diet. Her routine was steady. A bowl of high-brand cereal with skim milk every morning, every single day for nearly 12 years. When she finally saw a dietitian, they reviewed her habits and discovered that the high-phytate cereal was likely interfering with her calcium intake. She made one small change. She rotated out her brand cereal and replaced it with steel-cut oats 3 days a week. She also added a calcium-rich smoothie on the side with almond milk, chia seeds, and leafy greens. Just 6 months later, her follow-up scan showed improvement. Her energy levels went up, and her doctor told her, "You're finally absorbing the nutrition we've been giving you." So what can you do? First, don't feel guilty if you've been eating brand cereal. But now you know balance matters. Avoid eating high-phytate foods at the same time as calcium-rich foods or supplements. Here are a few smarter breakfast swaps. Try oatmeal made from steel-cut or rolled oats. Use quinoa porridge, which is naturally lower in phytates. Add chia seeds, almond butter, or boiled eggs for extra bone-building nutrients. And if you enjoy cereal, choose lower brand, sprouted grain cereals, which contain fewer anti-nutrients. You can also reduce the phytate content of whole grains by soaking them overnight, then cooking them gently the next morning. That one step makes minerals more available to your body. Another tip, don't take your calcium supplement with brand cereal. Wait at least 2 hours, or take it with lunch instead. Now I'd love to hear from you. Do you eat wheat bran or high-fiber cereal in the morning? If so, type the number 1 in the comments. And let us know your age, your country, and what your go-to breakfast is. We're building a space where seniors support seniors on the journey to stronger bones. If you're finding this eye-opening and helpful, take a moment now to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we're only halfway through. And there's more to learn that can make a real difference in your health. Coming up next, we'll look at a beloved morning ritual that helps you feel awake, but maybe quietly draining calcium from your bones. Let's talk about coffee. Coffee. It's warm. It's familiar. And for many seniors, it's a part of daily life. Maybe even first thing you reach for when you open your eyes. And in moderation, coffee can have some health benefits, including mental alertness, circulation support, and even reduced risk of certain diseases. But here's the part that's often ignored, especially when it comes to bone health. Too much caffeine can interfere with your body's ability to hold on to calcium. Now, let's break this down. Caffeine has a diuretic effect, meaning it increases how much calcium is lost in urine. Every time you drink a cup of coffee, your body may lose a small amount of calcium through your kidneys. Over time, and with repeated use, that adds up. Even more concerning, caffeine may reduce calcium absorption in the gut. So if you take your calcium supplement with your morning coffee, you might only be absorbing part of that dose. And if you're already struggling with low bone density, joint pain, or balance issues, this invisible loss can push your bones further into weakness without you ever feeling it. Let's look at a real example. Donald, 70, from Leeds, UK, had always been a coffee lover. He drank 2 strong cups every morning, one before breakfast, one after. Later in the day, he might add an instant cup while watching the news. His calcium supplement, taken right after a second cup with toast and jam. He thought he was doing everything right, eating clean, walking daily, taking his vitamins. But when a fall from standing height resulted in a wrist fracture, his doctor ordered a bone scan. The results showed mild osteoporosis. After reviewing his habits, the nutritionist gently explained that his caffeine routine, combined with when and how he took his calcium, might be limiting his body's ability to hold on to bone-building minerals. Donald didn't want to give up coffee entirely, and he didn't have to. He made 2 small adjustments. He cut back from 3 cups to 1 strong cup in the morning. He moved his calcium supplement to mid-afternoon, after lunch and away from caffeine. 6 months later, he reported fewer joint aches and more steady energy. And more importantly, his follow-up scan showed no further decline. So what does this mean for you? You don't have to give up coffee to protect your bones, but you do need to watch the amount and when you drink it. Here are some smart tips. Limit yourself to 1 cup per day, preferably in the morning. If you want a second, switch to half CAF or herbal coffee alternatives. Never take your calcium supplement with coffee. Give at least 1 to 2 hours of space. If you love warm drinks, explore caffeine-free herbal teas like rooibos chamomile or ginger. And remember, bone loss is often silent. You won't feel it until a fracture or fall tells you something's wrong. Now I want to hear from you. How many cups of coffee do you drink in a day? Type the number 1 if you drink more than 1 cup. And don't forget to drop your age and country in the comments. We read every message, and your story might help someone else make a change. Coming up next, we'll talk about a snack that looks harmless, but one that may be slowly draining the minerals from your bones without a sound. Let's talk about salted nuts. Let's move on to a snack that many seniors keep nearby. In the kitchen, the living room, even the car. Salted nuts. They seem like a smart choice. High in healthy fats, rich in protein, easy to portion and chew. And compared to chips or cookies, they feel like a win, especially if you're trying to eat better. But here's what you may not know. Salted nuts, particularly those roasted and heavily seasoned, can quietly drain the strength from your bones. Let's unpack why. The culprit here isn't the nut itself. It's the sodium. When you consume high amounts of sodium, your body tries to maintain balance. And to do that, it pulls calcium from your bones to neutralize the excess salt in your bloodstream. The calcium is then passed through your kidneys and lost in urine. That's right. The more sodium you consume, the more calcium your body may flush out. And over time, the steady leak leads to weaker, more brittle bones. You may not feel it today, but when you fall, slip, or bend the wrong way, your bones will tell you. Now here's the twist. Even moderate sodium intake, when consumed daily, can add up, and packaged nuts are often loaded with salt. Some contain over 200 milligrams per handful, and that's just from one quick snack. Let's look at a real example. Rita, 69, from Sacramento, California, loved her afternoon snack, a small bowl of mixed nuts while she watched her favorite game shows. She was careful about portions. She avoided sweets, and she walked 3 times a week. But at her annual checkup, her doctor noted her bone density had dropped more than expected. When the dietitian asked about snacks, Rita proudly listed her nuts. But then they looked at the package. The label read, roasted, salted, seasoned. And just one serving had 270 milligrams of sodium, nearly twice what's recommended for people at risk of osteoporosis. That was her light bulb moment. Rita switched to raw, unsalted almonds and occasionally toss in dried cranberries or sprinkle of cinnamon for flavor. She also increased her potassium intake through foods like sweet potatoes and bananas to help balance the salt already in her system. Within 6 months, she said her knees felt steadier, and at her follow-up, her bone numbers had stabilized. So what can you do? First, don't give up on nuts. They're an excellent source of magnesium, protein, and healthy fats, all essential for bone strength. But choose wisely. Go for raw or dry roasted nuts without added salt. Look for labels that say unsalted or lightly salted with less than 120 milligrams per serving. If you want flavor, add your own spices like cinnamon, turmeric, or paprika. And pair your snack with a glass of water, not juice or soda, to support bone hydration. Even better, rotate your nut intake with seeds like pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds, which are naturally lower in sodium and high in zinc and magnesium. Now I want to ask you, do you snack on salted nuts? If so, type the number 1 in the comments. And let us know your age and country. We're sharing stories from seniors around the world, and you never know who your comment might help. Coming up next, we'll talk about a so-called health food found in fitness aisles and energy bars. But many of them are packed with hidden ingredients that weaken bones from the inside out. Let's talk about protein bars. Let's move into the world of health foods, or at least foods that are marketed that way. Protein bars. They're everywhere now, grocery stores, gas stations, pharmacy shelves. They come in shiny packages with bold claims like 20 grams of protein, heart healthy, or supports energy, and many seniors have added them to their diet as a quick breakfast, a snack after walking, or even as a meal replacement when they're too tired to cook. But here's what's hidden behind the shiny wrapper. Most protein bars are closer to candy bars than they are to real food. Let's break it down. Many are packed with added sugars, artificial sweeteners, preservatives, and processed soy isolates, ingredients that may provide short bursts of energy but quietly burden your bones. The biggest offender? High sugar content. Sugar increases acidity in the body, and just like with yogurt and salty snacks, your body responds by pulling calcium from your bones to neutralize that acid. Some protein bars also contain sorbitol, maltitol, and other sugar alcohols that can cause digestive upset, especially in older adults with slower gut motility. And when it comes to calcium, many bars contain none. They give you protein, yes, but not the minerals your body needs to rebuild and protect your bones. Let me give you a real story. Stanley, 73, from Halifax, Nova Scotia, started eating protein bars daily after a knee injury. He wanted to recover faster and stay full between meals. He'd grab one mid-morning and sometimes another after dinner, thinking he was doing his body a favor. But over time, Stanley noticed his joints felt stiffer. He wasn't sleeping well, and his blood pressure ticked up. During a diet review, his nutritionist noticed something. The bars he ate contained over 16 grams of sugar, low-quality protein, and 0 bone-supporting nutrients. They were essentially glorified candy, with vitamins sprinkled in. She recommended a switch to whole, real snacks with quality protein and minerals. Stanley began eating boiled eggs, whole grain toast with nut butter, and Greek yogurt with fruit instead of bars. He also added chia seeds to his oatmeal and started drinking bone broth twice a week. Within 3 months, his joint pain reduced, his energy stabilized, and he finally started feeling strong again. So what's the takeaway? Don't be fooled by the packaging. If your protein bar has more than 8 grams of sugar or ingredients you can't pronounce, it's not helping your bones. Here's what to do instead. Choose snacks with natural protein, like hard-boiled eggs, hummus with carrots, cottage cheese, or Greek yogurt. Look for protein bars with minimal ingredients, under 6 grams of sugar, and added calcium or magnesium if possible. Better yet, make your own with oats, peanut butter, protein powder, and honey. No baking required. And be careful not to replace real meals with packaged bars. Your bones need whole food nutrients, not synthetic shortcuts. Now let's hear from you. Do you eat protein bars regularly? If yes, type the number 1 in the comments. And share your age and country. We're learning from each other, and your story might help another viewer make a smarter choice. Next, we're going to talk about a drink that most people believe helps build bones, especially because it's fortified and rich in vitamin C. But when taken at the wrong time or in the wrong form, it can silently pull calcium from your body. Let's talk about orange juice. Now, let's talk about a drink that's often seen as a morning essential. Bright, refreshing, full of vitamin C. And if the label says fortified with calcium, it feels like a win for your bones too. Orange juice, especially the kind that's marketed for seniors, heart healthy, supports immune health, added calcium and D. It sounds perfect, but here's the truth most people never hear. Orange juice, especially when taken alone, can actually weaken your bones. Let me explain. Orange juice is high in fructose and naturally acidic. When you drink it on an empty stomach or make it a regular part of your diet, it can shift your body toward a more acidic internal environment. And as we've mentioned throughout this video, your body reacts to acidity by trying to restore balance. It does this by pulling alkaline minerals, especially calcium, out of your bones. This is even more likely if you're drinking juice without food, as a morning beverage, or as a healthy way to take your vitamins. Now here's the twist. Even though it's fortified with calcium, your body may not absorb that calcium effectively if you drink it alongside acid-forming meals, high-sugar breakfasts, or on an empty stomach. It's not just about what's in your food. It's about how and when your body can use it. Let's bring in a real-life example. Barbara, 71, from Birmingham, UK, had always been careful with her diet. Every morning, she took her vitamins with a glass of fortified orange juice. She thought she was doing something good. But after a minor trip led to a wrist fracture, her doctor ordered a bone scan. Her results showed osteopenia, the stage right before osteoporosis. Barbara was confused. She took her calcium, drank her orange juice, and rarely missed a day. But after meeting with a dietitian, she learned that her routine may have been working against her. The juice, taken alone, was over-acidifying her system. And because she drank without food, her body wasn't effectively absorbing the fortified calcium. Her new routine? She now drinks water or herbal tea in the morning, eats a protein-rich breakfast, and adds citrus only as part of her meals, not on its own. She still enjoys orange slices, but now paired with nuts or Greek yogurt to buffer the acidity. After 6 months of small changes, Barbara's follow-up showed stable bone density, and she said she felt more energized and less bloated in the mornings. So what can you do? You don't have to avoid orange juice completely, but you do need to be smarter about how and when you drink it. Here are some tips. Avoid drinking orange juice on an empty stomach, especially first thing in the morning. If you enjoy it, pair it with protein like eggs, oatmeal with nut butter, or yogurt. Better yet, eat whole oranges, which contain fiber to slow down sugar absorption. Or try lemon cucumber water or tart cherry juice, both lower in sugar and gentler on your bones. And be careful with bone health marketing. Just because something is fortified doesn't mean it's effective, especially if taken in a way your body can't fully use. Now I want to hear from you. Do you drink orange juice regularly? If so, type the number 1 in the comments. And while you're at it, share your age and country. We want to hear what you're learning and what changes you're thinking of making. Coming up next, we'll talk about 2 nutrients almost no one discusses, but they quietly make or break whether calcium ends up in your bones or just passes right through you. Let's talk about magnesium and vitamin K2, the silent bone builders. Now that we've uncovered 7 everyday foods that might be quietly weakening your bones, let's shift our focus. Because strong bones aren't just about calcium. They never were. In fact, if you only focus on calcium and ignore 2 other critical nutrients, you may not be helping your bones at all. Those 2 silent heroes? Magnesium and vitamin K2. Let's start with magnesium. Magnesium is like the foreman on your body's construction crew. Calcium may be the bricks, but without magnesium, the bricks don't get stacked correctly. They don't get held in place, and your bone wall becomes unstable over time. Here's what magnesium does for your bones. It activates the enzymes that help convert vitamin D into its usable form. It regulates calcium transport, ensuring it goes into your bones, not into soft tissues like arteries. And it helps build new bone tissue by supporting the cells that regenerate bone. Yet, here's the problem. Most seniors are magnesium deficient. Why? Because it's stripped out of processed foods. And because many of the foods that once contained magnesium, like vegetables, now have lower levels due to depleted soil. Now, let's talk about vitamin K2, not to be confused with vitamin K1, which helps with blood clotting. Vitamin K2 is the traffic director for calcium. It tells calcium where to go, into the bones and teeth, and where not to go, like your blood vessels or kidneys. Without enough K2, calcium can float freely in the bloodstream. And over time, this increases the risk of calcification in places you don't want, like your arteries. Now imagine this. You take calcium every day, but you don't have enough K2. So instead of making your bones stronger, that calcium might be settling where it shouldn't, putting you at risk for both fractures and heart problems. Let me share a true story. George, 76, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, had been faithfully taking calcium supplements for years. He followed every instruction. But during a routine screening, doctors found signs of arterial plaque buildup. Worried, he visited a functional nutritionist who asked one simple question: are you taking magnesium and vitamin K2 with your calcium? He wasn't. They adjusted his plan. George added 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate and started taking AK2 supplement, -7 Malawi in Quatch's form, alongside his calcium. He also added foods rich in these nutrients. For magnesium, pumpkin seeds, leafy greens, black beans, and almonds. For K2, fermented foods like natto, sauerkraut, and hard cheeses. 3 months later, his energy improved. His joints felt better, and a repeat blood panel showed reduced markers of inflammation. The point is, magnesium and K2 don't just support bones. They help make calcium actually work. So what should you do? Here's a smart checklist. If you're taking calcium, pair it with magnesium and vitamin K2. Choose magnesium glycinate or citrate, forms that are gentle on digestion. Look for K2 as -7 Malawian kwaches, the more bioavailable form, especially if you're over 60. Eat more leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and fermented foods. And talk to your doctor about balancing your supplements, especially if you're on blood thinners or heart medication. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever taken magnesium or vitamin K2? Type the word strong in the comments if you're ready to look beyond calcium and give your bones what they truly need. Also, let us know your age and where you're watching from. Your story might help someone else think twice about their routine. Coming up next, we'll go over everything we've discussed in one quick, powerful recap, so you can remember the 7 foods to be careful with and the smarter choices you can start making today. Let's take a moment to breathe and review what we've just learned, because protecting your bones after 60 isn't about extreme diets or expensive pills. It's about awareness, about knowing what works for your body and what quietly works against it. Today, we uncovered 7 foods that may seem healthy, but could actually be weakening your bones. Fruit-flavored yogurt, packed with sugar and acid, stripping calcium. Spinach, high in oxalates that block calcium absorption. Wheat bran cereal, full of phytates that bind and steal minerals. Too much coffee, increases calcium loss through urine. Salted nuts, excess sodium leads to mineral depletion. Protein bars, hidden sugars and additives do more harm than good. Fortified orange juice, acidic, often unhelpful without food. We also explored a bonus tip: how magnesium and vitamin K2 are the unsung heroes that make calcium actually work inside your body. So if you've made it this far, that means one thing: you care. You're not just watching passively. You're taking the first real steps towards stronger bones, fewer falls, and more confident life after 60. Now let's bring it into action. Here's your challenge. Pick one food from this list to replace this week. Just one. Swap fruit-flavored yogurt for plain Greek. Or choose raw nuts instead of salted. Or take your coffee 1 hour after your calcium, not with it. Small steps build stronger bones. Now let's talk about you. What food on this list surprised you most? Which one are you ready to cut back or swap? What have you already been doing right? Drop your name, your age, and your country in the comments below. You're not alone here. Thousands of seniors around the world are watching and learning alongside you, and your comment might encourage someone else to start their journey. And if you found this video helpful, like it, share it with a friend, a sibling, or someone you care about. Subscribe to this channel, Healthy After 60, and turn on notifications so you never miss a daily tip that could add strength, clarity, or comfort to your life. In our next video, we'll dive into 7 movements that keep your bones young, exercises for strength, balance, and fall prevention. You won't need a gym, just a few minutes and a willingness to move smarter. Until then, take care of your bones, because every step you take in the future depends on what you put in your body today.